Then our next guest is a Hollywood legend who you might know best as Spider-Man's tentacled nemesis, Dr. Ock. But he's done a whole load of other stuff as well.
But now Alfred Molina has swapped life as a supervillain to join the other side of the law. He's hoping to solve a murder mystery in new thriller series, Three Pines. Oh, this is a little piece of me. Alfred, welcome. It's so lovely to have you here today. So let's just explain a little bit about what's going on. So you've got Chief Inspector Gamash, and he is in this murder mystery. He's trying to solve quite a few murders, actually. There's this one thread that sort of keeps coming back, and it's this sort of 18-year-old boy. Is he called Blue Rivers? That's
right, yeah, Tommy Blue Rivers, yeah. And that's the overarching story that takes us all through the whole season. But one story is every two episodes. And there's always, like, you know, for want of a better phrase, murder of the week. There's always a murder, but then the overarching story continues and develops and then has its denouement, you know, at the end of the season.
Well, you've said it's like Twin Peaks and Inspector Morse had a baby.
That's right, yeah. Yes, it was a moment of madness. I must have been drinking. I can't remember why. But I was trying to convey the fact that there's a sort of... in the same way that Morse was a detective who really kind of... He was more interested in the why done it rather than the who done it. And that's very much in keeping with Gamache.
But it's like they did that, they had that relationship, but in Quebec.
That's right, that's right.
Why Quebec?
Well, the series is based on a series of books by Louise Penny, a wonderful writer, and she's written, I think it's now 18, possibly 19 novels in this series. And they all take place in Quebec, in the Eastern Townships. And Three Pines is actually a fictitious place, but it's very much a kind of... it's essentially the spirit of the books. And so we shot it. It was very important for us all to make sure that we got it as authentic as possible.
Well, because they're very passionate fans. I mean, these are 18 books that people absolutely love. With that, I imagine comes a little bit of pressure, because I think whenever you're into a book series and then you go, oh, they're making a film out of it, oh, they're making a series out of it, in your head as a reader, you know exactly what that person looks like, you almost know what they smell like. So you're recreating that for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, I hope that we've captured the spirit of the books and the tone of the books. You know, there's always an element of reduction when you're adapting a novel to the screen. But I think in terms of, you know, in terms of keeping as true to it as we can, you know, and we took it very seriously because, you know, these books are really fantastic. And as you say, her audience is global. So we're hoping that, you know, the readers won't be too disappointed. And for the audience that don't know the books, it might make them curious enough to check them out.
Were you're the executive producer?
One of them.
Yeah, and you watched that clip that we showed earlier on, and one of the first things you said was, "Oh, don't ask me about that hat." I don't know what I was thinking.
Well, I was putting my comfort before all other considerations, which I suddenly realised when I saw myself in that.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like it. That seems perfect for where you are.
The hat was very serviceable, but it's not exactly a fashion item.
Because it was so cold. Because you were filming right up to Christmas.
Yeah,
so I think was it like -15 at times?
It was really cold, yeah, but there was always, whenever I complained about the cold, there was always a Canadian crew member who would say, "Oh, wait till next month."
Yeah.
You know, it was like, it always kind of, because the really bad part is like January, February, when it gets like terrible.
Forget about it.
Let's talk. We've got to talk a little bit about Marvel, so was it a casting by a director's wife?
Well, this is this is Chinese whisper.
I know, and it's all you never tell whether it's true.
What happened was, this is the story I heard. There was a group of 3 or 4 actors who I was one of them, who we'd all done something that had made a bit of a splash that year. I'd done a movie called Frida, and I think Chris Cooper was on the list. Christopher Walken was on the list, and the story I heard was that Sam Raimi's wife said to him, "Oh, you should check out this guy in this movie," you know, and he did, and then you know, decided, and which just goes to show, always listen to your wife.
Yes, there you go. 70 years later, and then No Way Home comes back, and you get to go back and revisit that character, not only his, but also Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. There's a moment when I think he says to you, "Good to see you." And actually, that must have been quite emotional.
Oh, I got quite flippant.
Yeah.
I mean, it was because they were suddenly, you know, we were doing a scene where he says, "It's good to see you," and I said, "Oh yeah, you too," and I suddenly thought, this is like such a weird conflation of like it's a movie, but it's real. And, you know, And it was just, it was actually kind of quite very sweet moment. And then when we discovered that all 3 Spideys were going to be in the movie, and all the major villains, we all kind of...
It was a brilliant film.
It was a bit of a party.
Yeah.
And so, in the distance and time that you from the first film to No Way Home, how much did the
17 years.
Yeah, how much had the tech changed in that?
Completely. In the first iteration in 2004, the tentacles were manipulated by puppeteers and who were actors, and we actually gave them names. It was Harry, Larry, Flo and Mo. And Flo, the reason we called it Flo was because that tentacle was being operated by a female puppeteer, and she had to do all the kind of fine stuff like lifting up the glass and lighting the cigar and all that kind of thing. And so we had, I actually named us the Octorage. I had T-shirts made up and everything. And but by the second time, 17 years later, the technology had advanced so much that we had that whenever you see them, it's all CGI. It's all computer generated.
So clever, isn't it?
Easier for you, though.
Very easy, but except that in the fight scenes, when I had the tentacles there, I had some weight.
Yeah.
But now I was just doing this. Boom. Boom. I'm pulling a face. It was very easy.
That's very good. 3 Pines is what you're here to talk about. Prime Video on the 2nd of December that comes out.
That's right.
Thank you very much. Lovely to see you.
Oh, it's lovely to be. Thank you.
18 books. This could be going for a while if it's a success.
This could be my pension.
It's lovely to see you.
Nice
and by the way, you were asking, the last time you were on here was 2006.
Wow.
There you go.
Blimey. Thanks for finding out.
Yeah.